In the dark recesses of Steam lie titles untouched by current trends. Stuff that's not exactly shovelware, but also not quite an indie hit. Under the radar games that, for better or worse, have something unique to offer.
I'm about to end this man's whole career. What just happened?
Ah! Peripeteia is one such game, and that's the best pronunciation you're gonna get out of me for this entire video. It's likely to get worse by the end.
Where will it be today?
But what is Peripeteia? Well, it's a lot of things. First and foremost, it's an immersive sim. Think things like Deus Ex, System Shock, the Prey reboot. It's also an incredibly atmospheric game, as you can probably tell, and that's where we're gonna start. Peripeteia takes place in an alternate history cyberpunk Poland. Think Blade Runner, but with communism. You play as Marie, a cybernetically enhanced mercenary who, at the beginning of the game, wakes up in a garbage pit with no recollection of how she got there. Or really, any recollection at all. While this entire first level serves as one big tutorial, this garbage pit is really the only tutorialized portion. That is to say, the only part of the level with actual instructions. The rest is up to you to figure out. Climb out of the pit and talk to the pit master, I guess, and he'll give you your first real goal. Collect a special light bulb from the local planetarium. That's really it. You're on your own. Sure, there's some other fine individuals to talk to, but for all intents and purposes, it's up to you to find your way around. That may be difficult in more ways than one, as not only does Peripeteia have some abstract level design, but the theme and artistic design offer some really immersive and compelling scenery, which may have you stopping to get some screenshots. While the graphical fidelity may not be as grand and painstakingly detailed as Cyberpunk 2077, Peripeteia's cyberpunk world is one of intense atmosphere. This extends to the UI as well. Marie can't carry everything, which means you'll need to carefully organize and optimize your inventory slots on a Tetris-like grid system, which can, in its own way, provide some satisfaction and enjoyment. But more so than managing your inventory, the general UI oozes personality, particularly with the cartoonish abilities and status effects. It rings of the Fallout series, with its Fallout Boy being the main visual representation of perks and items. Marie has her own animated illustration, fit with their own lighthearted depictions of ability effects. It also gives a bit of color to an otherwise bleak setting. The levels are coated in a layer of grunge and darkness, but there are signs of human creativity and compassion. Graffiti plastered on the street side walls, and Polish soldiers hosting small food drives for the local homeless population reminds you that this concrete coffin is filled with everyday people. Some locals talk in tongues and riddles, some talk like an everyday person, and some just shoot on sight. Its artistic design is what gives Peripeteia its edge. Sure, the animations look a little wonky and the textures lack a lot of detail, but when you look off into the distance and see things like this, it's easy to forget about all that. Now, apart from just enjoying the scenery, you'll need to get to the end of a level. Green doors like this are your way out, but finding them, or finding the means to unlock them, can be a bigger task than you might think. I suppose when the developers called this game an immersive sim, what they really meant was, I don't know, you figure it out. Lack of direction, immersive sim, I mean, I guess they can be considered the same thing. But I'll give them credit, they do not hold back in showing you what Peripeteia is really all about. The lack of direction really is a design choice here. The aimless nature persists through every single level. Some levels may give you a nudge, but that nudge is small, not often enough to actually figure out what to do. So, get to exploring, but not too much. Peripeteia's levels are big, no, huge, no, Gigantic, enormous, colossal. Pick a word. It doesn't matter, because however you describe these playgrounds, they hold vastly more real estate than any reasonable level should. This makes them confusing to navigate on their own, which then isn't helped by the directions given by the locals. Big domed building is the first direction you're given, provided by the pitmaster himself. That's as clear as it gets. Other directions include behind me, the bar, over there, or my personal favorite, to your left, which is a particularly unhelpful quote considering your left changes depending on how you're facing the speaker. But whatever, given enough time you'll find your way around, and who knows, maybe you'll even find a secret weapon stash. Or maybe you won't. In this first level, there's a secret to be had if you're willing to climb all the way to the top of the apartments. This is, no joke, at least a 5-minute endeavor. 5 minutes isn't too long, but when you're walking in a circle, it feels like an eternity. Other times, many other times, pathways that you suspect may lead to goodies instead lead to nothing. Just nothing.
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
It may seem like I'm being harsh, but there is a point to all of this. Despite its overly massive levels filled with sometimes something, oftentimes nothing, this scale does give a certain type of feeling. You're a speck in the grand scheme of these levels, but you're an agile speck. As mentioned earlier, you're not just some random person, you're a cybernetically enhanced agent. You're not just walking around these levels, you're climbing them. It really is a dystopian urban playground, and it's a lot of fun to carefully mantle and scale these massive structures. Sure, it may be difficult to navigate at times, but there's also no rush. You're not under any time constraints, and when you do eventually pop out of a tunnel and actually recognize where you are, it provides a really unique feeling. Wait a minute. I actually know where I am right now. There are 5 levels in Peripeteia as of writing this. 4 of them are really good. Level 3, the Chasm, is by far the worst of the bunch. Naturally, we must discuss. The Chasm brings out the worst in Peripeteia's level design. It mostly takes place on top of 4 major buildings. The train station, where you begin and end the level, the apartments, the communist base, and the nuclear power plant, which serves as the Polish base. Because each section is so isolated from each other, if you need to go from the apartments to the communist base, you have to go all the way back to the train station, then you can go to the commie base. If you, like me, end up in the nuclear plant, not knowing what's in there, you may need to leave the power plant, and that's about a 20-minute task, as getting into the plant is a lot easier than getting out, and getting in isn't easy to begin with. Thankfully, the other levels mostly avoid this. The 5th and final level is by far the largest in the game, and getting from the first half to the second half could see you standing on a boat for like 10 minutes. 10 minutes of agonizing wait. It is genuinely faster to walk than to take this boat. Are you bored yet? I am. Let's move on. Marie herself has quite the array of tricks. Your 3 mainstay abilities that are with you at all times are night vision, a camera drone, and enhanced speed and jump. These all take energy to use, and if you're out of energy, you can't use them. You can collect more abilities from secrets, such as a reflex enhancement, super strength, and a few others. I'm generally a pretty conservative player, so I didn't spend too much time using these abilities outside of the basic ones. This was partially because the game is so insanely dark that the thought of being in the dark without the night vision and getting lost wasn't a fun one. As for the guns, well, there's quite a few. These are going to be your primary method to dispatch foes, and given the mass amount of them, you'll have quite the choice. Unfortunately, you do not maintain your inventory from mission to mission, which is kind of annoying, but it also means that there's no sense in stockpiling ammunition, so just let it rip. Scavenging for ammo is a vital part of Peripeteia. It's the difference between having the means to defend yourself and not. Collecting a stockpile of weapons isn't always the answer, as your inventory fills quickly. After a firefight, it's wise to collect spare magazines from enemy armaments and discard the weapon itself. Doing this saves on inventory space and is actually kind of fun. It's that immersive sim aspect that gives it the spice. Picking up a weapon, detaching the magazine, and keeping the ammo is just a satisfying process. If a weapon doesn't use magazines, even better. Shotguns can be emptied quickly, and with no magazines needed, it means you can collect a massive pile of shells and load them in as needed very easily. However, enemies will generally not have ammo if alerted before being dispatched, regardless of how much they actually shot before they died. This encourages you to take a stealthy approach, which is fine given Marie's abilities, but there's one major flaw. In the bottom corner of your screen, you're given a visibility and auditory meter. This shows, obviously, how visible you are and how much noise you're making compared to the environment. The decibel levels work fine, I guess. It's the light level that doesn't quite do its job. The meter itself is accurate. If Marie has light on her, you're visible. If she's darkened, you're safe. However, the meter and the environment are often at odds. You could be in a completely dark room and somehow you're still fully visible. Likewise, you could be standing right in the light and the meter says you're nigh invisible. It's just one of the many signs that this game is incredibly buggy. Bugs are to be expected, but unfortunately in this case, they nearly break the game. There were so many times I would follow a path only to find myself on the outside of the playable area, stuck without a way to get back in. It's a buggy game to say the least, and if I were to try and label all of the bugs in my time playing, we'd be here all day. Jank is the right term here. Extreme jank. It's nothing new, there's plenty of janky games out there, and if you've dealt with them before, you'll know the routine. Save often, and in many slots. Peripeteia means reversal of circumstances within literature. It's not a word that I've heard before, and frankly, I'm not entirely sure how it fits within this game. Could it be a reference to its alternate history setting? Possibly. Could it just be a fun word that wasn't taken by another game? That's likely. But does this strange title accurately represent the strangeness of the game? Most certainly. Peripeteia is an immersive sim. Most people will look at it and understand that it's an immersive sim and stop right there. Some folks might find the highlights in it, the immersive atmosphere, the intriguing setting, the Blade Runner-esque theme, but only the true immersive sim gurus are really going to appreciate what this game is. It's clunky, janky, and unpolished, though very polished. It's not going to be an enjoyable game to play for most folks, but it's hard to deny its charm. This is an indie game through and through. It throws out many design evolutions games have picked up over the years. It's not user-friendly, and it's not afraid to smack you around with dead ends and big open areas filled with nothing. But this is clearly someone's vision. There's a sense of purpose to it all that helps enhance that atmosphere and vibe. As stupid as it sounds, it's a game for the gamer. It's not something you recommend to your friends or family. It's a challenge to get through, a challenge to understand, and a challenge to enjoy. But there's nothing really quite like it out there. Yeah, it shares genre and gameplay similarities with things like Deus Ex, the Prey reboot, and System Shock, but the similarities stop at that, gameplay and genre. It's a unique and surreal game to play, and it puts the immersive in immersive sim. Is Peripeteia a good game? Kinda, but not really. Again, it's a tough game to enjoy. It's so buggy, so unpolished, so confusing, and so just strange. If you're looking for something truly unique, that strangeness might be what pulls you in. There's answers to be found, backstory to uncover, and secrets to unravel. Will I play Peripeteia again? No, probably not. But did I enjoy my time playing the game? Also no. Kinda, maybe a little. You're really playing this for the artistic appreciation. If you have the patience for poor level design and jank, it may be worth experiencing and exploring this dark, damp, and depressing world.